Hey, good evening, everyone. It's your Chief of Police, Tyler Chandler, and I'm with Jake Laster, our multimedia specialist, and Officer Jonathan Long. They're out riding in the field right now. We're going to give an update on the road conditions and talk about just driving safe if you're out there and concerns we have into the night and into Sunday with the freezing rain, ice, storm potential. But it's good to see everyone joining us live now. There's like over 70 of y'all. And during any type of impacting event in our community, we like to come live to you just to be transparent and to connect with y'all to talk about what's going on. So if you have any questions, please type those in the comments. We'll be glad to get to those at some point during this live update. But Jake, Jonathan, how's y'all's night going?
It's going pretty good. Been here for a few hours, and Officer Long just got on shift, right?
That's right. Yeah, 6 o'clock.
Yeah, Jake, you came in a little early and you joined some of our officers at one of the local sledding spots. We'll leave that name out of that to not to grab too much attention for that private property. But how was it? How was the sledding?
It was pretty good. I got some air, and we got to go down a few hills. It was pretty fun. A little bit cold, but definitely worth the hill climb to go down the hill.
Yeah, absolutely. Anytime our officers can connect with the kiddos and have a good time sledding, that's always awesome. That's what Mount Juliet's all about, and the bonds that we have with our community. We released one of the body worn camera videos from Officer Bachman. So, folks, if you haven't seen that video, check out our socials, and you can see Officer Bachman on there having a good time through his body cam. And he didn't really turn on his body cam to capture it, but our body cams do activate if there's any type of struggle with the officer, if it detects them running or any type of incident, they do automatically activate. So you'll see the pre-record feature of that body cam, and then you'll hear the announcement of recording. And that's when his body camera turned on. It pulls the pre-record and then it activates. That's nice that we have that technology on all of our officers. But with this update, I do just want to get into a little bit about what we've been dealing with today. And thankfully, it hasn't been much. We only had 4 stuck, stranded motorists, and that's where a motorist was just trying to get to wherever they were going, but just got stuck either on a hill or they ran off the road into a ditch and they had to be pulled back on to the roadway. There were 2 injury crashes, thankfully only minor injury in those crashes, and there were 2 non-injury crashes. One person was a welfare check, and then we had 5 reckless driver calls out there. With the welfare check, we always want to encourage our community members, if you're aware of a neighbor, a friend, another family member who you may be concerned that they may not have enough heat or warmth or food or their situation, you want them just to be checked on, please call us. We're going to go out there and check on them and make sure they're okay. And if they need anything, we're going to connect them with the many resources that we have to get them what they need, whether it's they need a heater, they need food, they need shelter somewhere else tonight. That's why we are here to protect our community, and protection goes many different ways, such as ensuring people are well taken care of. And I don't want anyone in our community to go without heat or be in a bad situation, because there are resources out there who can help them. But please just give us a call at our communication center if you know of anyone who needs that type of help. With the storm impacts, the Weather Service still thinks that we could see anywhere from a ½ inch of ice up to an inch of ice. Some areas may be higher than others. Just depends how it all comes through. Later this evening, we started to experience the freezing rain here, where that water droplet is falling in the form of rain. Once it hits the surface, it immediately freezes, and we've started to experience that. Thankfully, it's not very heavy. It's very light, but more precipitation is continuing to come into our area, and that will continue to fall overnight and into Sunday. So they do expect to see some type of ice glazing. Just we don't know how much, right? And that's just what we have to watch for and what we're monitoring here for. Because if it gets really bad with a lot of ice glazing, then we'll begin to experience down trees, down limbs, and power outages, where that will put people in a bad situation, right? And we just want to ensure that when those incidents do happen, we're going to respond effectively and get them the help that they need. Conditions, we'll go over those in a minute with Jake and Officer Long, but they are still hazardous out there. And of course, it's going to get very cold the next several days into next week, with wind chills dipping near 5 degrees on -5 degrees on Monday and Tuesday morning. So if you're out there, hypothermia can occur quickly in these conditions. And tonight, LOK Corral was open for dinner, so I was able to go there with some of my staff, Jake as well. Officer Long, you missed out on the Mexican dinner tonight at LOK. But
It was
Jake
good.
there, some of our staff, and we're grateful for LOK Corral. Their staff paid for our meal. Certainly never expected by any means, but we do appreciate them and that kind gesture by paying for a meal this evening. But there were 4 Green Hill High School students. One I know really well, and he walked all the way from Willoughby Station up to the restaurant and just to have dinner because his parents didn't want him out driving, which is smart. And they were dressed, very warm, all of them, and many different layers of clothing, every part of their body from their ears down to the extra warm socks. They're definitely well insulated and warm to walk back. We offered to give them a drive back, but they wanted to enjoy their night and walk back in the snow back to their home after dinner. But they had a good time, and it was great seeing them out there. The timeline, we've already been through Saturday morning. Let me back up here. We've already been through Saturday morning and Saturday afternoon and evening. We've seen that transition. It's bouncing back and forth between sleet and freezing rain. When I came back in the building tonight, it was still freezing rain. And through tonight and into Sunday, we're still expecting the sleet mix and freezing rain with that ice to continue to build up. Sunday morning and afternoon, they still think to have the sleet, freezing rain. That line is a very thin line between rain and freezing rain and the mixed precipitation. And it's basically a line under Williamson County, under Wilson County, up into Pickett County, north to south is where that line is. And we are on the north side of that line where we expect to have more of the wintry precipitation, not just the rain. So let's just hope it's not a lot, and then let's just hope we don't have a big buildup of ice to not cause any extreme problems in our community. With our status report, we have not had to call anyone in. That's awesome. We actually, like we said earlier, very few calls today. We still had our central command center staffed. It remains staffed every hour of this event, just to ensure that if anything does start to get extreme, we can begin to navigate through that and ensure all of the resources are coordinated properly. Our fire and EMS, they have crews on standby as well. And our public works, they've been out salting and plowing all day long. They run 6 different snow response vehicles, and just grateful for all the work that they do out and about trying to get those roads as clear as they can through the event. We're putting all of our winter storm updates on Twitter and X. We would love to send you a MJ Alert text message every time, but it can get super frequent during any type of storm event. So the non-important type stuff, we put everything on Twitter X. So follow along there if you want to see real-time incidents, road conditions, and updates from our partner agencies all around Middle Tennessee. So Lebanon Police, Wilson County Sheriff, Wilson County EMA, Nashville Police, the Tennessee Highway Patrol all use Twitter, and they're all posting very good updates, and we're sharing those on our feed. So if you're not connected on Twitter X, get connected with us on that app so you can see what we're seeing and see what we are responding to and just follow along with how we handled this winter storm. And of course, for the more important alerts out there, our first go-to to any type of emergency that could affect others is MJ Alert. And to register for that, just text MJ to 67283 for that. But Jake, and the road conditions, what are y'all seeing out there?
A lot of freezing ice still coming down. Got to keep those windshield wipers going, otherwise it sticks. Try to get that camera focused for you. It's kind of freezing up on us a little bit on the windshield there.
Sure.
Long can tell you how it is driving. He's currently the one driving us.
Definitely see some spots of ice. I think the key is going to be just maintain speeds well below the speed limit. Keep distances for sure between vehicles, and especially as you're coming to intersections, just slow down early. That way, if you end up finding yourself in a slide, you have plenty of room to be safe and not end up in the middle of an intersection. So I'm driving right now. The speed limit here on Golden Bear is 45. I'm staying around 30, maybe up to 35, but no faster than that. And it seems to be doing okay. This relatively flat spot. I did notice on the bridge over there crossing over Division, it seems, bridges always freeze first too. So you got to be mindful of that.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you can see the ice, that freezing rain that's fallen, it's frozen on your hood and it keeps obviously on your windshield. And that's why that camera is having a hard time with the autofocus, but it's what the ice, not the road ahead. But we'll work through that. Reason we tell people to drive slow during snow and ice is truly because you could lose control of your vehicle, right, and crash. And if you're going higher speeds and you lose control and you crash into an object, the higher the impact, the higher the risk of injury. So we're always telling folks to slow down. The likelihood of you losing control is less when you're going slower during snow and ice. But if you do lose control while you're going slow, the impact will not be as great into an object or another vehicle or a hazard on the side of the road or an obstacle. And therefore, if the impact's not as great, the risk of injury to that occupant of the vehicle is not as great. We're really just wanting to keep people safe out there. And thankfully, the majority of our community has stayed off the roads. Of course, we know people have to get out. We know people want to go eat, and that's fine. But mostly what we've seen out and about are vehicles that can handle this type of road condition, whether they're four-wheel drive or all-wheel drive. And even with ice, that can even be difficult and almost impassable at times, which we're worried about with the freezing rain. But our crews continue to go out and about and do what they can to clear the roads. You can see some clearing, but with that pack of the ice, you continue to see it gets back where it is. It falls off of cars. It pushes back where they've scraped. But I think you even said earlier, Jake, tonight y'all have seen the snow plows still working into the evening.
Yeah, I think since we've been live here, I think we passed 3 or 4 of them. Salting and pushing snow off the road. And we just want to make sure that people are safe when they do see those snow plows, not to get too close to them, leave them space. They're trying to do their job. Try not to pass them unless there's plenty of room to do so. If you catch them on a road like we're on right now, definitely give them some space and just be patient with them because they are working around the clock with all their staff to keep the roads as clear as can be.
Yeah. And right now you are on Golden Bear Gateway approaching Palermo, the Curd Road, 4-way intersection. And then if you go further north, you're going to hit Lebanon Road. But that's at this point in Golden Bear Gateway. It's just the 2-lane section. And, every road in the city has this snow and ice cover on it. It's a mix of snow from earlier today. It's a mix of sleet. And now with that freezing rain falling, it's turning into ice, which you have to be careful of. Jonathan, how was that stop at the stop sign? Did you slide any?
I tried to slow down early enough and then be mindful too when you take off again. Just gently get into that accelerator. You don't want to spin out trying to start moving again. But like I said, just give yourself plenty of room. Start those stops early. And especially if there's vehicles in front of you, just keep your distance. Getting there safe is more important than getting there fast on a night like tonight. So even if it takes you a couple more minutes, then that's all right. But yeah, I think everything, if you stay below the speed limit and just drive safe and keep your distance and be mindful of turns and hills as well, and stops, then seems to be okay at the moment. I have some concerns once there's no traveling overnight and then kind of what is slush right now is going to turn into ice, I'm guessing, and so that could pose further problems as the night goes on.
Yeah, absolutely. It's something you have to talk about too when it gets this cold with the ice and it's wet out there is our pets, right? So if you have pets who are outside, please ensure that they have proper shelter, straw in any type of shelter that they're in. Of course, their water is going to freeze, so make sure they have water Frequently, you definitely probably want to bring them inside because most people don't have the heated water bowls for pets, and ensure they're well fed. If there's any pet out there with a neighbor or something you may have seen, and you believe that pet could be exposed to the extreme low temperatures and not have proper shelter, you can call us as well for that, and we will investigate it. Our animal control, they do a wonderful job, and they'll respond and check to ensure that the animal is properly cared for. So definitely don't forget those pets out that way, and definitely don't forget your neighbors as well. If again, I always repeat this because I don't want anyone just to not be thought about or checked on. And if there's that person that lives next to you that may not have family, may be elderly, may not have folks nearby to take care of them, and you want them checked on, please just call us. We'll go check on them and make sure that they have everything that they need. And Jonathan, here's some traffic headed your way. Is that the only car y'all have seen so far tonight, other than the snow plows?
Other than the snow plows.
Yeah, very few cars out right now, which is probably a safe thing.
Yeah, absolutely. We want folks to stay home if you can. The more traffic out there, the more incidents that we have, and we're really trying to conserve our resources to respond to those true emergencies. Our fire department had 4 medical calls today, and all of it was unrelated to the winter storm. So even when we have these winter storm incidents, life still continues. People still have medical emergencies, crime still happens, and we have to get to those incidents too. And thankfully, with our public works team, they have trucks that we have communication with them too through our central command center and our emergency communication center to divert trucks if we need to put more salt down or plow to ensure the fire trucks or the EMS can get there. I thought it was interesting. Our fire department, I was listening yesterday in a briefing with Joey Edwards, the deputy fire chief, and he was telling me how the fire engines, when they get on a scene, they have to go out and cycle their pumps to ensure that the water doesn't freeze within the fire truck. And they're not really too worried about it freezing in the tank, but they're worried about the different lines and pumps freezing up. So they cycle that water while they're on scene to keep it moving from freezing. Because when you need that water for a fire, you don't want it froze. You want it to be able to send the water out the fire hose and put the fire out. And I thought that was interesting. But there's a lot that goes into this. They are using different smaller response vehicles that are all-wheel drive to get to an emergency first, to try to size it up and see exactly what's happening, see if the fire truck or ambulance can even get down there. And if it can't, they will load the patient up in the smaller vehicle if possible and get them transported to the ambulance to get them transported to the hospital. It all, of course, depends on what is going on with that patient. But they think a lot through this. We think a lot through this. We even have our smaller ATV vehicles ready to go just in case there's a situation where our police vehicles can't get to. And 95% of the police vehicles that we have are either all-wheel drive or four-wheel drive. So that does help. But again, if we have this freezing rain that comes and the roads are a sheet of ice, it even gets more difficult. But if the officer has to, he'll park as close as he can and just walk, navigate to the scene, just to ensure that people are taken care of and ensure that we're going to have an adequate response to that. We've been monitoring, this event from our central command center, which is a new feature that we have with our new police headquarters, and it brings in all the different technology systems that we use into one room. So we get to see the officer locations of their body-worn cameras. We get to see the officers' vehicles locations, all the different calls for service on a map, all of our different technology systems through our citywide camera network, and to be able to view those cameras live to see what's occurring out there. And the new feature, which we're announcing on February 4th and rolling that out to everyone in our community, is the real-time live 911 calls, which go through our Flock Safe City, Safe City initiative program that we have, which is also bringing drones as a first responder into our community. But the real-time live 911 system is huge because it elevates everything that we do, but elevates our responses to speed up our response to emergencies by about 3 to 5 minutes. When you call 911 in Wilson County today, you go to the central 911 office. They're going to verify what the issue is, where you're at, and what type of emergency you're having to route your call to the community dispatcher call. So Lebanon Police, Wilson County Sheriff, and us have our own communication center. So if your call is in Mount Juliet, they're going to transfer that call to our emergency communication center, where our dispatcher is going to begin to ask you what is going on. But now with the real-time live 911, once you call 911, that call immediately alerts on the officer's laptop computer in their car, but also the cell phones that they carry, their smartphones that they carry through an app, immediately shows the caller's location off of their GPS of the phone. And we begin to hear that caller tell the dispatcher exactly what is happening. So the officer can listen in real time, know in real time once someone calls 911, and begin to head to that location and listen to the caller explain the emergency as they are en route to the call. Typically, without that, dispatch takes about 3 to 5 minutes before a first responder or a police officer is dispatched to an emergency call. So to have that new feature in our community is a game changer, especially when you see it every day like I do and like our team does. We know there's always that delay when someone calls 911. That happens nationwide. Now with this new technology, the first agency in the state of Tennessee to have this technology is huge, and the emergency response is just elevated even more for our city. So I'm grateful to have the support of our community, to have this technology, our elected officials who have worked hard to get us that technology, just to elevate again our emergency response here. We're very few cities in Tennessee have a combined their own emergency medical service, their own fire department, and their own police department. It's all handled by us as a city. I think there's only 10 cities in Tennessee that have police, fire, and EMS as one public safety group. Others may have a fire department that serves from elsewhere, or a joint group. Others may contract their EMS service out elsewhere or use the county EMS service like we used to have. And they're a great team as well. But the city just chose to go a different path a couple of years ago, and we do it all here. And the emergency response has been wonderful since we've had that. And I'm just grateful for the new technology to get us, our first responders, to the scene quicker and to help people faster. Because we know when we get there faster, the likelihood of de-escalation is there, but the likelihood of saving someone's life is higher. And that's what we want to do, is keep people protected. Where y'all at now, Jake?
We are on North Mount Juliet Road, headed southbound, passing the post office and Mount Juliet City Hall, and a few cars out still. It is still sprinkling the frozen rain. It's not too bad right now. How are you feeling over there?
North Mount Juliet seems about the same as Golden Bear as far as the impact the road is feeling, and speed. I think just keeping that speed low, it seems to be working all right so far.
And we've drove by quite a few places to eat, and I have not seen a single one that is open at this moment. And I do believe Kroger also looked like they were shutting down for the night. So I think most businesses at this hour are either wrapping up or have already sent their employees home.
Yeah, that's probably the safe thing to do, is and let those people go home and get home safe, right? And just stay where most people are in Mount Juliet and across Middle Tennessee, and really all of Tennessee, the way the storm is in a large region of the nation with this large winter storm, as people are probably just hanging out at home tonight to not get out and about in this mess and the ice and snow and just hazardous roads that are out there.
Definitely a good night to watch a movie, maybe cook some popcorn. It looks like we haven't seen any dark areas where people are out of electricity at this hour. So, enjoy your popcorn and your heater, and watch a movie.
Yeah, and we don't have the risk right now of losing electricity. There's just not enough ice coating out that way. And, we're working and monitoring with different electric companies and seeing what's happening in other sections of Tennessee that have already had more freezing rain and ice coating. So we'll begin to track that, and it'll basically move from the south to the north as they've had more freezing rain that way. And we'll know that power outage could be imminent as we see other areas that have had more freezing rain experience it first. So hopefully it won't get to that point, and everything will just continue to be just hazardous road rather than power outages. But if you notice, they're traveling on Mount Juliet Road right now, and there are different organizations that salt and plow roads in our city. So Lebanon Road, Highway 70 is a state road. Mount Juliet Road, State Route 171 is a state road, and Central Pike is a state road. So those different roadways are handled by the state Tennessee Department of Transportation. Their plows have been out. They've also been salting as well. They also did the pre-treatment with the brine too. But our public works crews, if they see there's a huge need and they've handled all the other city streets, they will get on Mount Juliet Road and Lebanon Road as well, just to do whatever they can to help clear it up, especially as they're traveling to different routes within our city. And they put the 6 different snow trucks on different routes in our community and just constantly concentrate on those. The reason every street just doesn't get attention in the city is most people can travel from their home and get to the main road in their vehicle, and there's lower speeds on those other streets to be able to get across those roads that they haven't treated, but they simply just can't. They need to focus on the main roads to ensure that those are as clear as possible, again, for emergency response. We always don't really think about that because until it affects you, you really don't think about that. But the police still need to get where we need to get to. The ambulance and the fire trucks still need to get to help people, because those individuals that need a fire truck or an ambulance or a police officer, those are usually the worst moments of their life. And we need to get there as quick as we can and safe as we can to help them, whether they're having a medical emergency or a law enforcement incident. So they just can't hit every road within the city, but they do focus on quite a bit of road from that snow route map that I've seen. And again, just grateful for what they do. They are working around the clock just to do what they can to get the roads clear. But Jake, Mount Juliet Road, Old Pleasant Grove Road, you're headed south, about to reach I-40.
That's right. Passing Cheddar's right now, and I'm gonna head over to the south side and see what it's like over there. Passing
one of
some fellow officers.
Our officers hanging out.
Yeah.
I will say it does look like the snowplow has, if there's an area where that has multiple lanes traveling the same direction, looks like they've concentrated on trying to clear one lane. So that seems like that's the safe lane to travel in. It was the same on Golden Bear as Mount Juliet. Looks like they're focusing on clearing at least one lane in each direction. So that seems like the good one to travel in.
Yeah, same thing on the interstate as well. We just crossed over I-40, and it looks like it's one lane that's very travelable.
Good deal.
Waffle House is open.
Good.
Those who are wondering, Waffle House is still open. I don't know how long they'll be open for, if they're staying open or not, but they are open now.
Yeah, I think if Waffle House is closed, it means it's a big deal that we should all worry about. When they close, like when a hurricane's coming, I think there's a Waffle House index that I hear about when I watch the news about like the hurricanes and whatnot. It kind of gives you an idea. You may need to buckle down. Any traffic on the interstate?
There's about 3 or 4 cars going either direction, but not too heavy traffic. I didn't see any big semi trucks, just a few small cars. Get home, I'm assuming.
Yeah. What about Waffle House? Was it packed?
No. There's probably 7 people in there, 7 or 8 people in the workers. So wasn't too busy. I'm sure there's not too long of a wait there.
Yeah. You are on Providence Parkway now. The theater is on our left, and you are going back into Providence neighborhood.
Yep. Yeah, just past Jonathan's. It's like Providence Mall has some people working to clear the parking lots back there on the side of the movie theater right now.
I might mention too is you get used to these main roads being clear. You know, if you pull off into a side street that may not have been salted or plowed, you know, just be mindful that it may be a different situation. So adjust your driving and slow down even further. They, like you mentioned, they are clearing off these main roads, but some of the side roads or neighborhood roads, it may not be the same story. So.
Right. And see Providence Parkway here in Providence Trail, those are on city snowplow routes. Um, did you slide any there?
I did not.
Okay. That's good. I assume you're on four-wheel drive auto or four-wheel drive?
I have it in auto right now, yes.
Good deal. So y'all just turn left on Providence Trail and headed back towards Belinda Parkway. Folks,
think
if you
we're
have
gonna-
comments- go ahead, Jake.
Head up. I was just gonna say, I think we're gonna head back up towards Mount Juliet Road and try to head back towards the station.
Good deal. I'm going to check here and see what comment we got. Bart here chatting about when we're talking about the sledding, great community policing, those kids will never forget that. And Bart, you're exactly right. I can remember spent a little bit of time in Texas where I was born before my family moved here when I was really young, and I was like 4 years old. And I remember this standing with my mom at a McDonald's, and we're waiting in line. There was a Houston police officer standing behind her. I just kept looking at him, and he bent down and took his tie tack off, which was a badge, and handed that to me. And I can still reflect on that in my memory today. But sometimes I wonder if it was that event that made me want to grow up and be a police officer, was that interaction at such a young age. So we try to have that culture here where we do whatever we can to take care of our community and keep them safe, but also build those relationships, especially with our youth, to ensure they know that we're here for them. We're here to protect them. We're here to keep them safe, but also show them that they can grow up one day and be a police officer, because we certainly have to have police officers in our community to protect it and keep us safe. And grateful for what our team does, grateful for what Jonathan does every day out there in the field. Of course, what Jake does as a multimedia specialist to share the good news and keep our social media updated about everything we do, and just to highlight their efforts every day. It's all full circle. Same with our emergency communicators back at the communication center and the work that they do with answering those calls and getting those calls dispatched. And same with our record staff and evidence staff and detectives and officers and our support staff and leadership team here that keeps the department running and focused on all the different goals that we have. We can go on and on down to animal control, right? And what they do every day to assist us with our animals out there in the community and keep those animals safe, but also get them adopted. And it's just nice to have a no-kill animal shelter here where they do very, very good at adoptions. And, at one point this year, they had 0 animals to adopt because they were all adopted out. And that's just amazing work to do, because normally you hear about animal shelters always just having animals there that need a home. So if you need a pet, check out our animal shelter. They have wonderful pets out that way. Jake, you were there this week doing a video with them. What kind of pets did they have? Did you get to go back and check them out?
Sliding a little bit. We slid about 3 times on Belinda Parkway and Providence Trail, so it's a little slick over there. But I did swing by the animal control. We recorded a short video on, like we talked about earlier, just the safety of pets and livestock in this colder weather, and just how to care for those things and look out for your neighbors' pets and everything. But we definitely have some dogs there and plenty of cats, I believe. So it is always a good time to adopt an animal, just because you're giving them a second chance and a second family, and hopefully a forever home, as they like to say it there at the animal center. So it's always a good thing. You can always call and set up an appointment, come schedule play date with the dog. Obviously, it is a little cold, but those dogs would absolutely love it. So,
Good deal. Alexandra Little has a question. Will the road conditions worsen overnight? Alexandra, we seem to think that they will with freezing rain and just the information we're getting from the National Weather Service. And, we are directly connected with them through something called National Weather Service Chat. We can immediately ask a meteorologist questions, and they continue to keep us updated through that platform as well. And they give us daily briefings on what's occurring around us. But really, they're keeping us updated at every moment. Something kind of changes to keep us aware and prepared for what's coming. But they do expect the freezing rain to continue. And of course, once that hits the road, it will continue to be hazardous. And we'll just have to see how that plays out through the night and tomorrow. But we'll, of course, keep you updated on that. The majority of our updates are going to Twitter X. So go to our account there, MT Juliet Police, because we're just not going to put everything out on a text alert. You can just go to our Twitter and get everything and get even more details about what's occurring out there. Our text alerts really are for the emergencies and what's affecting people having the greatest effect on people. We try to get a text alert out first, but just the detailed updates, you can find that on Twitter X too, about all the different incidents occurring in the community. Good advice from Ellie here about sledding. She says there's some kids that are going to a hill in their neighborhood that is under construction, which is probably not too smart because there is a lot of debris and equipment in the area that you may not be able to see under the snow. So yeah, be careful about that. What we like to tell folks when they go sled is, number one, if you're on private property, ensure you have permission to be there. Two is check the sled path before you actually sled down the hill. So walk the path to be sure there's no debris right there, and get that cleared up first. I see you're passing some type of vehicle there. Looks like one of our city vehicles out using the plow and pushing some ice and snow around. But back to sledding. Yeah, you want to walk that path to be sure there's no debris or any kind of hazard under that snow. And once you check it pretty good, then sled down that path there. We've seen injuries where people have sled into barbed wire fences. We've seen injuries where people have sled down a hill and hit a mailbox. And those can cause very serious injuries. And in fact, I saw a comment on social media tonight on one of our sledding posts that we put out there. A woman had to go to the ER, and she was next to a room that had a child that was injured in a sledding incident today somewhere around us. But just be mindful of that. And Ellie, thank you for bringing that up. Merlin's asking, any recommendations for a good, safe, and legal place for kids to sled? Of course, Merlin, we can't really advise on that because it's typically private property, and we just don't have a list of private property owners that want people to come sled out that way. But I've seen most occur in neighborhoods on the shared common area property that neighborhoods have. So those neighborhood residents go and use those different common areas to sled. We see kids sled in roads. We don't like it at all because cars also travel down those roads, and you can't really stop a sled. So if there's a vehicle on that same path, it's very dangerous. So we advocate folks not to sled down any roadway. It can become very, very dangerous with that. So the best is something far away from a road, or definitely not where the sled could sled into the road. Just to keep the sled and the person on the sled away from the cars that are out there. Jake, you got anything else?
I think that's it. Just be careful, like he said, driving or sledding, because the snow looks nice and smooth on the surface, but it can definitely be hiding some things underneath the surface. So, and same with driving. It may look smooth and it may feel great, and then all of a sudden there's some ice right under there, and you hit it. Just like when we were stopping back there, we hit a yellow light and had maybe enough time to stop, but we ended up having to carry on because we started sliding on the way to stop. So just, be cautious, give yourself plenty of room, and don't overestimate your driving skills there.
Yeah, I'm with you. And y'all are headed now northbound on Mount Juliet Road, about to be at Woodridge Place and past Mount Juliet Middle School, and I assume you're headed back to headquarters.
I assume so. I wish we could take every comment and come through every neighborhood to show everybody, but
yeah,
it would be a late, long night if we did that. So
yeah, I'm with you. I know the majority of officers, they usually stay stationary but visible, and we continue to send what we call just normal patrols through areas that could be targets by thieves during these type of events, but also check on motorists who could be stranded on the interstate or on a road, right, who may not have access to a cell phone to call us. But folks, we'll wrap this up. We've been live with you. It'll probably be 45 minutes by the time we end this, but appreciate Officer Jonathan Long and Jake, our multimedia specialist, for making this live broadcast possible, but all the support and all the comments from you folks. We see all kinds of comments that you're leaving supportive of our police department, and we are so grateful for that. It's 99.999% of the feedback we get is supportive, which we don't take lightly or for granted by any means, because we are blessed, and we're going to do everything we can to maintain your trust by doing things the right way here in our community as a police department. And we know when we do things the right way, that support grows with y'all, and you trust us to do the job correctly and to keep this city safe. Grateful to be one of the safest communities in Tennessee, not just by the number of offenses that occur, but also by ratios. When they look at crime stats, they look at the ratio population versus the number of crimes that are occurring and do a ratio to see the victimization rate that could occur to our residents who live here or people who visit here. And we have a very, very, very low victimization rate. And we do that because we have your support. We have the support of our elected officials, and we're able to use tools and technology that allow us to identify offenders that come here who are actively wanted or involved in crime or driving a stolen car or have stolen plates. Or if they do commit crime here, we're then able to access that technology to quickly find a lead and then take that person into custody and charge them for the crimes that they commit. But that we are able to do that because of the support from our community. If we didn't have your support, we wouldn't have these tools to keep the city safe. And that supplements our team. It allows us to have a super safe city, which made Jonathan Long super big there, Jake, but we'll fix that for him. It allows us to have a super safe city, which when we have a safe city, we don't have to have as many police officers that other cities our size have. So looking at the FBI ratios on the number of police officers per population for a city our size, we should probably have another 30 to 40 police officers to meet that average ratio. But we simply just don't need it because we're safe. And we're safe because our community supports us. We're safe because we have the technology that supplements our officers and what they do. And we continue to see crime have a downward trend. So just since our population has grown doesn't mean crime has grown. Back in 2007, when I was out there on the street patrolling just as a basic patrol officer, to give an example, we had over 100 vehicle burglaries in the community. Just last year, we only had 36. So a huge decrease in the number of vehicle burglaries. And our population then was much smaller, about 14,000 compared to the nearly 45,000 that we have today. But I can go on and on about our safe community. I can go on and on about how much we appreciate our community that supports us because we just see it so often. Just like tonight, our dinner was paid for We've had many different people walk up to our table just to thank us for what we do. And that just encourages us every day to go out there and work even harder to protect the city. So folks, hope you stay safe tonight and tomorrow. We're going to keep you updated. Most of the updates about the incidents that we're responding to are on Twitter and X. If we have anything major, that of course will go out on a text alert. There'll be different updates on Facebook, on these live updates, which also hit YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter. Our Central Command Center is activated. There is a commander throughout every hour of this event monitoring what's happening, the circumstances, but also the calls for service and to see if there's any resources that need to be adjusted to ensure everyone gets the help that they need. We respond to every emergency effectively, but also ensure that our protection of the community remains strong. So it's an honor, it's a privilege to serve this community. And on behalf of everyone that works here, we're so grateful for each and every one of you who support us each and every day and just continue to encourage us to do what we do and keep this city safe. So have a good night. We'll see you soon, and we'll be, I'm sure, with you tomorrow with another update. Take care, everyone.